Today we're looking at some of our favorite passive bookshelf speakers priced under $1,500. It's a nice selection because in this price range you start to see premium features and attention to detail that can make meaningful improvements in sound quality and that you can see and feel in the build quality. That's not to say that you can't get really nice speakers for less. Check out our roundup of the best models under $500 to see our favorites. But if you can afford to step up, you start to get into speakers that, if you pass them on, will be more like heirlooms than hand-me-downs. Like my vintage 1970s Dynaco 825s that cost the equivalent of what would be about $1,000 when they came out in 1969 and still look and sound great in my listening room today. In this price range, you also start to see more three-way speakers, meaning they have three drivers, adding one specifically for mid-range to the more common two-way woofer tweeter designs. You could, and if you're motivated, I think you should, go down the rabbit hole of dissecting speaker designs, studying up on different sound characteristics of driver materials and tweeter types, and you could also take a look at any of these speakers on our website to get our take, a quick snapshot of the sound profile that rates each speaker for detail, bass, and vocals. It also shows you where they sit on the warm to bright sound spectrum and gives you a brief summary of what our customers think about them. For the speakers on this list with impedance rating below 8 ohms, we highly recommend using a high-performance amplifier to get the best sound quality, so keep that in mind as you check out the specs. And some of these speakers are biampable. That means they've got two sets of binding posts so you can use separate amplifiers to power the high and low frequency sections, which can help improve their dynamic range and reduce distortion. Biampable models can also run perfectly well with a normal single-wire connection. They come with jumpers, which are usually pre-installed, and link the two pairs of terminals together. All of the speakers on this list feature ported cabinets, vents in the enclosure that direct airflow for better bass extension. Some have them in front and some in back. For rear ported cabinets, the bass can sound a little baggy if you set them up too close to the back wall. Front ported cabinets generally give you more flexible placement options. Okay, let's get into the picks. Best for vocals, the Bowers & Wilkins 606 S3. If you love to focus on the singer or on soundtrack dialogue, Bowers & Wilkins 606 S3 speakers have several callouts for excellence in that department in our customer reviews. They'll sound fantastic in a 2-channel setup or as part of a high-end surround sound system. And at 8 ohms, they're relatively easy to drive. They also have a classic timeless look and come in black, white, and real wood veneer, cherry, and oak finishes. The biampable two-way 606 S3 uses a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter that's decoupled from the cabinet with synthetic gel to reduce any acoustic noise. And its 6.5-inch continuum cone woofer's unique composite construction gives the driver exceptional resolution and transparency even when tracks and scenes have wildly shifting dynamics. They come with 2-part foam plugs in the rear-firing flow port, so you can experiment with full or partial plugging to dial in the best low-frequency response for your setup. Best bass, ELAC Uni-Fi reference UBR62. I've been listening to a pair of these fantastic 3-way speakers in my living room for a few years now. Not long ago, I had an itch to revisit some classic Rush and cranked up their Moving Pictures album on that living room system. These speakers delivered the crunchy yet articulate tone and drive of Geddy Lee's bass in a way that totally scratched my itch. That's thanks in large part to the UBR62's large 6.5-inch woofer. It uses a single-piece compound curvature aluminum cone and a large rear-vented magnet that helps provide balanced frequency response and increased power handling for bass that's clean, clear, accurate, and powerful. But there's more to the story than just an innovative woofer. ELAC's concentric driver array places the tweeter in the middle of the mid-range driver. This precise alignment creates a unified source for more coherent and accurate sound. And the UBR62's high-quality crossovers, robust cast chassis driver construction, and sturdily built, heavily braced, front-ported cabinets round out veteran speaker designer Andrew Jones's vision for a compact speaker that delivers rich, full bass and an engaging, non-fatiguing sonic profile. These biampable speakers have a somewhat power-hungry 6-ohm impedance, so be sure to pair them with a high-performance, high-current amp to get the best sound. Best for home theater, Polk Audio Reserve R200. Our customers have called out the RS200's full, accurate sound. If you're building out a home theater surround sound system, these are worth a look as they sit at the more affordable end of this list, which can make a big difference when you're buying 5, 7, or 9 speakers. But these speakers will also sound great in a 2-channel system. They use a 1-inch ring radiator tweeter with an integrated waveguide that delivers smooth treble with wide dispersion, so you get balanced sound throughout your listening space. And critical damping in the tweeter's rear chamber does a great job of reducing any unwanted high-frequency resonance. For woofers, the 2-way R200s use the same 6.5-inch molded turbine cone driver found in Polk's higher-end Legend series for accurate, natural-sounding mid-range and bass. And the patented X-port on the rear of the cabinets use closed-pipe absorbers specifically tuned to keep bass response tight and accurate. Best for detail, the KEF Q Concerto Meta. KEF speakers are a Crutchfield employee and customer favorite, and the Q Concerto Meta incorporates technology from their premium flagship blade and reference models that help them deliver pinpoint detail, surprisingly deep, precise bass, and wide, even dispersion. They use the 12th generation of KEF's Uni-Q driver array with the tweeter right in the middle of the mid-range cone. That helps the music sound full and balanced throughout your listening space as opposed to being more tightly focused on a single sweet spot. There's some pretty cool technology that helps the Q Concerto Meta deliver superior detail. The flexible decoupling chassis isolates the mid-range driver's motor structure from the rest of the Uni-Q driver array to help prevent cabinet vibrations from muddying the sound. Then there's a shadow flare surrounding the Uni-Q array that helps prevent baffle reflections and diffraction from coloring your sound. The tweeter's cone-shaped waveguide and tweeter gap material damper help clarify treble, and KEF's matte or metamaterial absorption technology is a small plate behind the tweeter with a labyrinth-like structure that absorbs unwanted sound for clean, super articulate detail. The 6.5-inch hybrid aluminum bass drivers have a paper cone covered by a shallow concave aluminum film. That gives them low weight and high rigidity needed for fast, accurate bass. And as you can see, the rear-ported cabinet is very nicely finished. Keep in mind that these 4-ohm speakers perform best with a high-performance, high-current amplifier. Best looking Wharfedale Super Denton. All of these speakers look great, but the furniture-grade real wood veneer finish on Wharfedale Super Dentons puts them in the best-looking spot on the list. But they're not just pretty furniture. They're audiophile-grade, three-way speakers that benefit from Wharfedale's veteran design guru Peter Como's decades of experience in the business. They have a decidedly vintage aesthetic that harkens back to Wharfedale's Denton 3 speakers from the early 1970s, but their modern drivers, crossovers, and cabinet design help them produce even bigger sound despite their even smaller footprint. Each speaker uses a 1-inch soft dome tweeter and 2-inch soft dome mid-range offset from one another in the baffle, and each fitted in its own anti-resonant rear chamber for excellent clarity and imaging. And a cast chassis 6.5-inch woofer delivers surprisingly deep full bass. Note that the asymmetrical driver layout means that there are designated right and left speakers. For the best stereo image, you'll want to place them so that the tweeters are toward the inside when you face them. The beautiful rear-ported enclosures are extensively braced and damped inside with long hair fiber, and different woods throughout the cabinet construction prevent any single resonant frequencies from standing out. Even the glue that holds the MDF and particle board panels together has resonance damping properties. All that together helps create an inert cabinet that optimizes driver performance for a warm, lifelike soundstage with precise transients and satisfyingly substantial bass. These 6-ohm speakers will definitely perform their best when you use high-performance, high-current amplification. Best value, Klipsch Reference Premier RP600 M2. These customer favorites offer a slightly refined version of Klipsch's big, bright, room-filling sound at an affordable price. Our Crutchfield customer reviews consistently call out their clear, engaging sonic profile and impressive bass. The rear-ported cabinets also look great. Their 1-inch linear travel suspension tweeter features a vented housing to reduce standing waves that can muddy sound. The tweeter is set in a version of Klipsch's distinctive Tractrix horn that has a widened mouth for better dispersion and imaging. It also has a soft silicone face and unique phase plug to keep the treble response smooth and non-fatiguing. The 6.5-inch woofers in the RP600M2 use Klipsch's proprietary cerametallic material, which is extremely light and rigid for fast, accurate bass. This model uses a voice coil that is 70% larger than the previous versions, which helps improve its power handling as well as an improved motor structure that helps keep the low end nimble. Also, they're relatively easy to drive with any decent integrated amp or receiver, and they feature biampable design if you want to go that route to get the clearest sound. Okay, that wraps up our list of the best passive bookshelf speakers priced under $1,500. If you have any questions about any of these models, or if you want to dig deeper into what's available, get in touch with us here at Crutchfield.